Alright guys, we're back here with another Judas Priest album review. This time, the last one of the 80s. So we've made it now through all of their 70s stuff, and then all their 80s stuff, and we'll be entering the 90s next. But here it is, 1988's Ram It Down. And, you know, this album is a little controversial, and I'll say I was confused because I always knew that, like, there was an electric, you know, like a drum machine they used, and not Dave Holland on here. But when I got this in the mail, and was doing some more research, like he's actually credited as the drummer in here. So I was like, what? No, there's no way, because I always heard, you know, the drum kit or whatever, or the electronic drums were on there, but apparently they just gave him some credit. I think he maybe recorded one or two, maybe, but for the most part, he was not really involved in the band. And the drums do, you know, I get how that could be a problem for people. But like for me, I think it kind of gives the album its own unique kind of sound, a really cool sound if you ask me. And I mean, it doesn't take away from the heaviness department at all, because compared to Turbo, this thing, you know, amped up that heaviness by quite a big amount. This is really what should have preceded, you know, Defenders of the Faith, if we're talking about heaviness. Even though, you know, I saw my review, my Turbo review, I do dig that album a lot. But anyways, yeah, we'll go ahead and jump right into it here with the title track, Ram It Down. And what a way to just kick it right into gear. I mean, it starts off with Halford screaming. Like, immediately. The dude is just screaming. Like, that's how you know this thing is going to be a killer album. Incredible track off here. This whole, really, I mean, just from top to bottom, it's just about a classic, you know, and an epic album. At least in my opinion. I know it doesn't really rank high on a lot of other people's lists, but, and I won't spoil where it ranks in mine, but I mean, I really do love this album. But anyways, next we've got Heavy Metal, one of my favorite Judas Priest songs. This album is host to a lot of those, you know, I mean, just such good stuff. Ram It Down, Heavy Metal. I mean, that is the riff in that thing, and especially during the chorus, is just, it's raunchy. Like, it just, oh, what such a badass track. Then we've got Love Zone, which is probably my least favorite offside one, but it's still a really good track. Like, I really do like that one as well. Then, oh, another one of my favorites by them, period, is Come and Get It. That is, I mean, the riffs on this thing are absolutely incredible. I mean, some of the best riffing in, you know, in my crazy opinion, I guess, some of the best riffing by Priest, you know, especially up to this point. Just super memorable and hooky riffs that they're busting out here. Then we've got Hard as Iron, another really, really cool track, another heavy one, you know, with a very powerful hooky chorus. Then we're on to side two, and probably my favorite track, one of my favorite Priest songs, period. My favorite track off this album, Blood Red Skies. Wow. You want to talk about an epic. It's just like it grinds on you. Like, I mean, especially like during that pre-chorus when he's like, I'm telling you. Like, it's just, oh. And, you know, the electronic drums, or electric drum kit, whatever you want to call it, that really does show through on that track, and it really adds to it. Like, it gives it a really unique flavor to the album without, you know, taking down any of the heaviness, because Blood Red Skies is freaking heavy, and all the preceding tracks, you know, are heavy as well. Everything on here is pretty darn heavy. There's not really any like super slow ones. I mean, Blood Red Sky kind of has a build up to it, but man, and the vocals on that thing. Then we've got I'm a Rocker, one of my least favorites off here. Still a really good, decent track. Then we've got Johnny Be Good, a cover of, I forget, was it Chuck Berry, I think? I'm drawing a blank, but you know, kind of a cool cover, but like I'm not really the biggest fan. That's not one of the highlights to me off the album. That's actually one of my least favorites. Love You to Death, great song. Incredible song. That's the second last one on here, and then you close it with an incredible one. Another real heavy one, Monsters of Rock. So yeah, this thing is just filled with really, really heavy tracks. I think this is a criminally underrated album by Priest, because I mean, there's just so much here, but people just kind of, it kind of falls victim again to being in between. Well, really, this one's in between a super controversial one, Turbo, and then, you know, a highly renowned album like Painkiller. So it kind of just got lost in the shuffle, I think. The band were in a weird transitional time. I hear Rob Halford, I was doing some research, and Rob Halford was pretty much dead set on leaving pretty close after they did this one. I guess he was just pumped out that, last one, Painkiller, with them, but he was getting to the point where he was wanting to leave. So yeah, kind of a weird time for the band, but I mean, it produced this incredible album that I'm a huge fan of. And I am really curious to hear what other people think about this one, because you don't really hear it talked about a lot in the Priest catalog. So, what I think it definitely should be. But anyways, yep, that's the last Priest album review of the 80s. I mean, I can't even recall what number we're on exactly of how many of these we've been doing, but we've done all 70s, all 80s. Next time we'll be looking at 1990s absolute masterpiece of an album, the ultra heavy Painkiller. And man, I'm looking forward to reviewing that thing. There's not a lot of Priest albums during the 90s, but there's I think just the 3 of them. So we could probably fly through that pretty quick. I mean, they were kind of loaded in the 2010s, 2010s, 70s, and 80s, of course, but 90s we can kind of fly through that. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, and please like, subscribe, comment.